Wait. Second. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, boys. So I signed up for the boot camp for a few reasons. Firstly, I had gained weight in the last couple of years, and I had lost the routine and habits of prioritizing nutrition and exercise. Frankly, I lacked discipline in my life. But what sold me to come all the way to Brazil is trusting in Nick's vision for what the camp would be and in Ewald to execute everything. I only learned at the boot camp at Nick's wedding in January, about 2 months before the camp started, where I briefly talked to Ewald, where he mentioned, just in passing, basically telling me what he had been up to or what he's up to, without any thought that I would actually come, that the camp was happening. But it sounded exactly like what I needed. Though I think what mostly convinced me was Ewald's energy. More on that later. I'm married with a young baby and a pregnant wife. Another baby on the way. A month is not a short amount of time to be away from them. However, Ewald is a person that inspires faith and trust, and I had faith that coming here was in fact an investment in my family. It helped that I could drop them off in Peru with my wife's parents on the way down to Brazil. But yes, it was. I came here because I truly believed it was for their good. I believe a father is the head of his family, not for his own benefit, but for the good of his family. And therefore he needs to lead by example. And frankly, I haven't been doing that lately. My goal at the start of camp or before coming was to create the habits that I could take home to my family to better lead them and serve them. Luckily, I have a great wife who understood this and believed in that vision. Being here has made me realize the immense value of male friendship. What is true friendship, especially masculine friendship? It is two or more men with similar underlying values who will go through trials together, keep each other accountable to keep growing physically, spiritually, and to provide an environment conducive to each other's success. In a word, true friendship is a brotherhood. I once heard a Catholic priest say, men grow by suffering and responsibility. That has basically been the essence of this camp. Doing hard things together and taking ownership of yourself and each other. This is how men grow in friendship. This type of bond with other men is something many guys lose as they get older, or maybe they never even had it. The first time we all got in the ice bath, I was legitimately scared. I didn't know what to expect. But everybody did 3 minutes their first time, apparently something that had never been done with a big group the first time. And I think it's because nobody wanted to let down everyone else in the group, similar to prospective soldiers in a real military boot camp. This fortitude is a uniquely masculine virtue, and it is best strengthened in brotherhood with other men. And then you can take it with you, and so it can bear fruit with your wife or family or community later. I can attest that in marriage, it is difficult to always maintain the sense of masculine leadership. It is easy to become soft when you have a lovely wife who loves to bake cookies or wants to watch a movie or go out to eat, etc. Of course, these things are not bad in themselves and they're fine from time to time. But you, as the man, father, husband, have a duty to her, to your family, to yourself, ultimately to God, to do not what is easiest, but what is best for them. And what is best for them is often what is hardest for you to do. Men need other men. That is what I knew before, but living here and living it makes it crystal clear. I thought I was coming for the better habits, thinking that the established routine itself is what I needed. But I came away realizing that the brotherhood is what I needed. In fact, I would go as far as to say it's a causal relationship that goes like this. If you start with a similar group of like-minded men, similar in their underlying values, put them in close physical proximity to each other, and have them do hard things together, the result is stronger, more virtuous men. It is the brotherhood that makes living well easy, and it's more powerful than any amount or of weeks of consistency or routine. That's why going to the gym here never felt like a chore. You don't want to work out? Well, Ewald's waiting at the gym for you, and you're not going to let him down. Maybe you would go 1 minute instead of 3 in your first ice bath if you were by yourself. And then you have daily, real conversation, reflection with other men about things that actually matter. And growth is basically the inevitable consequence. I think many men are depressed because they're lonely. Even if they have a loving spouse and family, they can still be lonely because your family cannot fulfill what historically other men have filled. And it is essential to a man's happiness to be sustained consistently by this masculine energy. It is difficult and sometimes impossible to both discover or rediscover and sustain that energy on your own. If not impossible, it's certainly not optimal. I can attest to this last year because I more or less knew these things, yet it was one of the hardest years of my life, and knowing the things alone was not sufficient to push me out of a months-long rut, basically depression. I feel rejuvenated now, and I don't think it's just because it's always sunny here in Florianopolis, although that helps too. Historically, the natural flow of life was a more optimal environment for human happiness, especially with men. You lived in a place or neighborhood where everyone was ethnically the same, which meant you knew who they were and what they believed, more or less, which is necessary for true friendship. For example, in the mid-1900s in Boston, I would have been in an Irish neighborhood surrounded by Irish neighbors. We'd all go to the same church, our kids would run around to each other's houses, and we all trusted each other because of the shared underlying values and ethnic identity. Today, people, especially men, have an identity crisis, especially if they have no religious identity. They end up identifying themselves not by their values, but by their consumption. For example, sports teams, or by physical characteristics that say nothing at all about their values. For example, being white. The result is shallow friendships based on things that don't ultimately matter, or lack of friendship at all. So when you find true friends, it is crucial to realize how precious they are. Even men without the same ultimate values, ultimate meaning their views of religion or God, ultimate reality, can still bond provided their values and energy on slightly lower but still very important things are shared. For example, accountability and hard work as a means to growth. Work back in the day was often very physical and shared with other men. The difficulty was inherent to life. Nowadays, we have to literally manufacture an artificial difficulty like going to the gym or the ice bath because life is too easy, too soft. The internet and technology also make it easy to be off alone, atomized from our brothers. I was so struck by the beauty of what we had here that it made me think I should literally consider rerouting my life and my family if it means living near my friends. Usually people leave their friends for a promotion, a job promotion across the country, but maybe it should be the other way around. Maybe they should take less money to be closer to their friends. Because finding and cultivating true friendship is not easy. It requires a constant time investment, but it has a payoff that no price can equal. One moment for me that crystallizes the true benefit of this camp is the following. A few days ago, I had a conversation with my wife where I told her we were going to do something. It wasn't something big, but it was something that in the past would have caused some doubt and tension and things like that. But here, she accepted it right away, saying the following. I'm not sure about it myself, but I know you have a longer term vision of what is best for us. And I know that for you to tell me about it like this means that you have thought about it a lot. I trust you and I'll follow you. There is literally no higher compliment a man can receive from a woman. It made me literally tear up, and I went running basically to tell Ewald about it. To most people, it would seem like nothing happened, but to me, everything happened. I think what she could sense was that I was talking from a place of clarity and confidence, something she didn't sense in much of the time with me leading up to the boot camp. I truly believe that me being here inspired a more unshakable faith in my leadership from my wife. This is worth more than winning the main event. I'm sure the other guys talked a bunch about the gym and the bath and the hikes. They were all great. The only complaint I have, which is not even really a complaint, is that I would have liked more personal attention in the gym to help my form with the bigger, the squat and the deadlift and things like this. But I acknowledge this was simply not possible given the time constraints of Ewald and there only being one of him. But the trade-off of working out together, the camaraderie of that, of going to the gym together, was way more worth it, and probably contributed sufficiently to the success that I didn't even notice, and it didn't bother me, I would say, that I couldn't really work on the kind of more complex things in the gym. I want to say a word about Ewald. He had told me that Nick said to him, I want you to run the camp, or I don't want to do it at all. I think this was a good decision. I believe this camp straight up would not have worked without him. For the first 2 weeks, he was going 3 times a day, 4 days per week to work out. Not just to train us, but to work out with us 3 times a day, due to a weird rule at the gym where he couldn't be our trainer. He organized everything, and it seemed like he barely had a moment to rest. Living in the same house with him, I saw it and was continually amazed. Machine is a word that comes to mind. Being around him makes you feel guilty in the most healthy sense of the word, because his consistency of work ethic becomes a mirror to your own weaknesses. Like I said, Ewald is a man of integrity and virtue. He inspires trust. He's a man worth following, a role model, and a true friend. This camp was an amazing experience. I am tempted to say life-changing, but that will depend on me and how I manifest the things I've learned here. I'm confident, though, that it will bear fruit for me and my family, especially if we make it a point to continue living in this way, to maintain the friendships we've made here, and to be intentional about the importance of brotherhood in our lives. God bless Nick, Ewald, and all the men who became my friends here. Love, Cindy, Andrew.